Hey, everybody. Let's see. Let me make myself larger. There we go. All right, let me say hi to everybody who has said hi. Hey, Louise. And hey, Craig. Hey, Birdie. Hey, Gary. Hey, Ann. And hey, Shelly. And hey to anybody else watching or everybody else watching out there. It's Tuesday. It is the accordion live stream. If there are any issues with the audio, please let me know. It's hard to test it out and listen to it on this new setup, but the other functions of this new setup work a lot better. Yeah, I'm broadcasting live from the Mojave Desert of Southern California in the house that I grew up in, that I have been out here to try to remodel and rehab and turn into a little rental property. I'm an accordion player. My name is Dallas Vietti, and I'm an accordion player, and I'm an accordion teacher and music lover. And this live stream I do every single week. If you're new to it, welcome. You can check in next week if you want to watch live, or you can go to my YouTube channel, which is at Rising Reed. Let's see, is my name shown here? No. Somehow I can put my name, but it's not here now. So I don't know how I add it. Anyways, I know. Here, I'll go here. Does it show now? No, it doesn't show. Anyway, but yeah, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can see all the old broadcasts on there, of which there are many. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. It's very cool. Every Tuesday is exciting and interesting. Let's see. On the stream today, I have two series going, although I'm only going to sort of do one of them. So the second hour, this will be a 2-hour live stream, as it is almost every week. The second hour, we'll talk about The Artist's Way, Chapter 10 out of 12. We are almost done. Can you believe it? Everybody playing at home. And to Birdie and Ann and Tom and other people posting in the forums, I'm so sorry. I just realized today that I never posted week 9. So please do your check-ins now. Sorry, guys. But it's up there now. So I don't know. I think this is my subconscious kind of whatever, self-defeating or freaking out, avoiding my commitments or something like that. Anyways, let's see. What else to say? I started up the live stream with, here, we'll go back over here, with this lovely channel, this lovely YouTube channel. Let's see, let me get out of my, I wanted to share this with everybody. A lot of what we listen to on this channel is jazz accordion, because I play a lot of jazz accordion. That's some of my favorite stuff. Let's see, I'm trying to go, I got to expand this a little bit, I think. There we go. Okay. So I want to show you all this channel, Paulinho Del Mondes, and he's a Brazilian dude, and he is just a jazz accordion fanatic. And his channel is wonderful. I guess he hasn't posted anything in a year, but it's almost all jazz accordion stuff, and he has a lot of stuff that you can't find anywhere else. I'm not sure exactly how many videos he has. Will it tell us? 105 videos on his channel. And I pulled together a few of my favorites. I found this last week and was really enjoying it. So he has a real nice thing. It's not all jazz, American jazz. There's also great Brazilian accordion players there. And then you could hear Paulinho himself playing on the channel. But I highly recommend this. This is great. Great for that golden age of jazz accordion. A ton of Frank Morocco, all these other players. Pete Jolly, who's passed away a few years ago, but known for being a phenomenal piano player. I had no idea that he was a really killing jazz accordion player, so that's cool. Craig, yeah, the Leon Sash, wasn't that like so swinging, especially his intro, his sound, his time. The lines I get a little off on, but just so good. And the let's see, almost the last one that I played, Lunar Lunacy or something like that it's called, was Buddy DeFranco and Tommy Gumina. And he's playing a bunch of bullshit, but man, does he play that bullshit well. That solo accordion thing with Tommy Gumina walking the bass and shredding. Like, where does that energy come from? It reminds me of this video of Tom York I saw years ago, where Tom York's just playing on the piano, and it's just like he's like pulling energy from the seventh dimension or something. Like, it's like I don't know. Humans are amazing, the good and the bad. I have my espresso. I also randomly, I got an appetite for sugar yesterday, and I went to the dollar store and I bought a cake mix. And I thought, oh, how cool, how economical. It's fun just to make a cake. This is my favorite. This is like our family's every birthday. Me and my dad would get the yellow box cake with the pre-made chocolate frosting, and it's just comfort food. So I had some cake this morning because I have a reason to want some comfort food. A very close, dear friend of mine, and I'm gonna cry. A very dear friend of mine passed away this morning, and it's a total complete bummer. It's really, really sad. And if anybody that knows her is out there, her name is Karen, and it's super sad, super sad. She's a friend that I've known relatively a long time, and she passed away. Anyways, from an illness, and it's a bummer. And I thought about, like, music to remember her by and something to do. And I thought, I don't know, I was thinking of, heavy stuff, light stuff. She had just amazing sense of humor. Um, just a person that is so full of joy and humor and support and realness. And she's an accordion player and took lessons from me, and that's like how I knew her, but then made friends. And a lot of my other accordion player friends are friends with her too. And it just happened this morning. It's really, really awful. But I want to just take a moment and just remember her, like for myself and for anybody else. And I thought, okay, like, what could I play? That feels right to me. And I can't quite figure it out. And I kind of thought about, well, I don't know, let me do something that's just like so heavy and so melodramatic and over the top. And it'll kind of feel good, like the blues, the spirit of the blues. This is not the blues at all. But let's just listen to a recording, a little bit of Mozart's Requiem, and then I'm going to play another recording, which is like the last song that I can remember. Thank you guys. Thanks for your condolences. That's really nice of you. So I want to just have a moment, to remember Karen. Yeah, to remember Karen right now. And I don't know, maybe I'll make this day Karen Day going forward. Just a person with so much humor. So listen to something heavy and then something light, which I'll play after that. We will not listen to all of Mozart's Requiem, but we will listen to some of it. And I found a couple versions of Mozart's Requiem. I was looking for one with accordion. I thought that would like tie into Karen and to this stream and stuff, but there were more with bandoneon. And the kind of the coolest one, but it just seemed too campy, is this version of Mozart's Requiem with a choir, like a quartet rather, of overdubbed theremins, which actually sounded pretty great, but I felt like it just didn't seem, I don't know, it was cool, but not. So let's just listen to a little bit of the real heavy thing for a moment. And we'll start right here where it starts. Karen, we miss you so much already. Why don't I hear it? Because it's muted. Sorry. Unmute. And now the volume's down. Oh boy. Do you guys hear that? Okay. And now something a lot more joyful. So this is the last tune that I remember working on with Karen a few years ago. The Tennessee Waltz. That's way louder, isn't it? Jesus. I'll just kind of fade that out there so I can get to the rest of the content for today. But thank you all. Yeah, it's important to what is it important to do? It's important to I don't know, to take time, to notice the changes in life, the good and the painful. Thanks, Effie. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, hit me up. Okay, so moving on to today's content. Let's see. Also, do you guys hear this microphone that I'm tapping? Tap, tap, tap. Let me know. I hope so. That's going to pick up the right hand of the accordion. So on today's episode, I had been doing for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, a road to Django in June. Django in June. Birdie hears it. Thanks, Birdie. The Django in June is a wonderful music camp in central Massachusetts on the Smith College campus. Django, that's spelled with a D, Django, in June, because it happens in June, usually around the solstice. But it's a music camp for adults where you play and learn the music of Django Reinhardt, which is called Gypsy Jazz. And I'm the teacher again this year. I don't do it every single year, but I've done it many years, maybe 8. This might be the 8th. That I'm just kind of guessing there. But today I wanted to talk about something else because for a number of reasons. It's on my mind. And also, I want to create a variety of content so that this channel isn't only about Gypsy Jazz, because it's about so much more. And, there are so many different kinds of music. So the theme of this first hour, this first segment, is touch. And touch really encompasses so much stuff. Let's see. Let me hook up the iPad over here and get that shared. One moment. So I want to show an idea for accordion technique that is applicable for anybody and everybody and applies to all musics. As in all things, there are many ways to do things. There's that skinny cat metaphor, which is just kind of horrific. So I don't really want to use it, even though I just said it. But, there's many ways to do a thing. There's got to be a more pleasant version of that. There's more than one way to, whatever, peel a banana. How about that? But there isn't really. Anyways, okay, so let me stop that screen share. I'll go over here, stop the screen share, and then start a new screen share. So I'm going to draw a little bit because draw on the iPad and talk and play. And let's see. Just getting the iPad hooked up here. Go right here. I had a really nice weekend. I have a couple new friends in town. Actually, one of them just left. Just random travelers in this area of right near Joshua Tree. There are a lot of people that are doing van life that come through here, and I have a friend of a friend who came through that I have been. It's like a new friend to go out and do things with. It's great. And then she met another person randomly while camping. I think at a yoga class actually. And I got introduced to that other friend. So I have these two friends that I've been hanging out with for the past week, and they're just so fun. And one of them, they got me to go out and go to the open mic up past 29 Palms out in a place called Wonder Valley, which is like way out there in the middle of nowhere. And it was spectacular. It was so cool. Chop an onion. I like that. Craig says more than one way to chop an onion. Thank you, dude. Yeah, that's great. But yeah, I haven't been doing gigs because I'm out here not booking gigs. I'll be flying back to do a string of them. It looks like I'm setting some stuff up in Grand Rapids in September, and then I'll be in Madison in September. Toward the end of the month, I'll be back in Delaware, Richmond, Virginia, Baltimore, all the last weekend of the month back east, and then I'll come back to California so I can keep working on the house. That's just a little filler. But let's talk about accordion technique. So there are a couple things that I want to share about accordion technique. So technique, this part of the technique, I think is the part that goes underneath how fast your fingers can move, how accurately they can move. It goes underneath what a person knows about music. You know, it goes like, do I know all my chords? Do I know all my keys? All that kind of stuff. This amount of technique that we're, hey Zev, great to see you, man. This part of technique that we're talking about underlies all of that. It would be the equivalent if we were like a bowed string instrument, like a violin or a cello. We would be talking about how do we hold our bow, how do we move it across the instrument, what is the weight, you know, all that sort of technique. How do our fingers fret the notes, and not necessarily the actual repertoire and literature. It does give a particular sound, you know, and it's like my opinion, man. So just know that there's more than one way to chop an onion, and this is just the one that I like aesthetically, and it works for me. This is all indebted to mostly to Nathalie Bouchiex and mostly her, honestly, Jacques Mornet too, and then of course Fred Deschamps, who is my first French teacher, who is kind of derivative of those two. He was a student of Jacques for many years and kind of took those ideas and did like a fork, you could say, to use a metaphor. Let's get this. Let's see. What do I want? I think, how should I do this? This one, well, I want you guys to hear both hands. But okay. So as far as what we want to have a very consistent bellows. Let me add in the iPad now that it's hooked up. Okay, so don't fall asleep, iPad. Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, so can you guys see me? Let me change this so we can both be seen. Me and iPad. All right, so bellows. Number one is bellows. And it seems really obvious, but what I want to stress and suggest is this idea that is the very first lesson of Jacques Mornet, which is you make the compression of the bellows. You make the air that you want before you start playing the sound of the note. So this is his very first lesson that he teaches, maybe after he talks about how to sit on the chair. But as far as his specific technique, this is his very first lesson, and it's because it's the very first thing to do. And I've never heard anybody describe this way. You know, I haven't learned from everyone, but I've been around. And so let's see, what register do I have? It doesn't matter really, does it? Let me put on the 2 middle. So we pull, we attack the bellows, right? I'm attacking the bellows, and then I'm going to attack the key. Just like that. This is a really revolutionary thing, and this is worth making exercises to do. This is worth setting reminders. This is worth all of the things that you can do to get this into your nervous system to make this the way you play. So in April, I'm going to finally start up the accordion yoga morning class. I'll probably do it at least once a week, maybe twice. But that's going to be like a morning class that's going to have a lot of these. It'll be a group class online, super affordable, and I'll have a lot of these ideas. But the thing that we're going to start with always is moving the bellows. So before I do anything, and I want to pull up like a tune here. So let me go over here. Okay, yeah, let's check out this. This is a tune that I was working on with a student yesterday, a little Irish tune. So before I play that first melody note D, I need to pull on the bellows. So I attack the bellows, and then I play my note. And I don't release the bellows. The bellows then move through. So I begin the air as this potential, this wind that's coming through, and we could think of like as a visual metaphor, we could think of like a cushion of air. So I have that cushion of air, and that cushion is inflating all of the piano keys and all of the bass buttons. And Dallas, I make contact with that air. The air itself, really, I know that air and I feel it by the sensation of the piano key that I touch. So I'm trying to do a very delicate, soft touch, and it didn't quite open enough. Or whatever the melody does. I don't really know this tune. So that's the first idea, is the air, and it goes for the left hand as well. So if I was playing the left hand alone, say for example, to demonstrate this, I would make my air, and I have attacked the bellows before I play, and then I play my D bass note, and I don't just play it and relax my air. I keep it going to however the shape is that I want, and we can get more complex with shaping that and all that sort of stuff as the technique gets more involved. But the very first, most fundamental thing is this idea of attacking the air, creating the air that we want before we start to play. This is obvious at the beginning of the piece, right? Because we're going from like, I'm not playing accordion to I'm getting ready to play, and then I have to start playing. But it also goes for every single time that a phrase stops and a phrase begins. It goes for every single thing that we're playing in the left hand. It goes for every single time that I change the bellows. So if I'm playing like, and then I'm going to change the bellows, say one bar, I'm still going to do the same thing. So I'm going to play, I'm attacking the air, attacking the bellows, right? Creating the air that I want. And then I'm moving that air and I'm putting the notes into the air that I'm making. So the air is like this quantity. The air exists as this quantity, and because I'm making it with my left arm, I have to make it. And I make this robust, beautiful cushion of air, or column of air, however you prefer to visualize it. And with that, then I can put my note into that air, and I can take my note out and add these three notes. Whatever the meter is, right? And when I change the bellow, I do the same thing. I make sure that I have the compression before. So it's got to happen super quick. So I'm squeezing in towards my body, and on that attacking, I've attacked the bellows and I'm creating all the air. On that, then I can put my notes again. I didn't quite have enough air there. Like that. That gives us this buoyancy. It does so many things, so many things. But I want to go back to my iPad notes here. And so the bellows, so we're creating a cushion of air. In the keys and in the buttons, right? When we think of the cushion, you can imagine like, a couch cushion or something. Imagine an inflatable couch cushion that you're blowing into, like you're inflating a pool float or something like that. And you're constantly inflating it because air is constantly going out, right? And so if we use that idea of a cushion, we can press down on the cushion and feel, oh, it's very, it's got a lot of resistance and tension in it. And that sort of cushion is we feel it in our keys over here and in our bass notes, right? And the other thing that we do is we get this beautiful stream of air. We get this like airstream. Airstream, not like the travel trailer, but like a Gulf Stream or whatever, we get this air current, and that air current we can visualize going through our phrase. So up here, I'm going to bellows / air, because fundamentally, ultimately, the secret to understanding this instrument, or the secret to us, all of us, getting our personality out of it, is approaching it with air, understanding how this thing is moving air around. It's the air that is doing all the stuff. We think it's our fingers and our arm, but if we imagine the quantity of air that's going on, we we will be able to solve problems and approach things in a way that's better for us. So if we imagine that we sort of start, let's see, let me change my colors. I think this background is distracting anyways. Let me go to a different kind of background pattern. There, or maybe none. I like having those little dots. Okay. So change the color to, let's say, so we start. So here's where I start. So I start pulling the bellow, right? And then I have my airstream. And it's, following this trajectory, but it never stops. I don't have like little puffs of air. That's not what we want. We want one sort of continuous flow through. And we can have more pressure, which makes louder sound. We can have less pressure, which makes softer sound. With louder sound, we have myriad interpretations of emotional things, intensities of whatever it is. It could be strong, joyful intensity. It could be strong, aggressive, angry. It could be strong cries of pain, whatever it is, but it's big and loud. Or we could have soft sound, which could be gentleness. It could be mystery. It can be pensiveness, right? All of those things. But we need the whole spectrum, which comes from our left arm. So this isn't to say that we always are pulling super loud. It's not that we're always pulling super loud. It's that we're pulling consistently, and we always start before we play. And we really never stop. We never stop moving that bellow. That bellow is always going. We always are creating our air, and we're always going to put our notes into that air. So the air is a quantity that never stops. The air never stops, meaning our arm, which is creating the air, is never stopping opening and never stopping closing. Whichever direction we're going, it's always doing that. And it's going to do that to the strength of the volume that we want. So with that, if I go back to this right here, we can see we could see the air coming through. That's really crazy. I would not, that's not really a very representative shape, but we want to start our air here, and then, kind of truck it along until maybe the phrase terminates, and then we change the bellow, or we just take a little kind of break in our phrase and then begin again. The important thing that I want to get across here is that we're thinking of the wind going through all of the notes and being this big shape. I'm not just thinking of like sort of these integer events of I press my finger down, I press my finger down, I press my finger, stamp, 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 stamp. It's not that. It's this long line that is the air. And those notes are happening in that line. So let's see, what is the end of the phrase? That's good. Okay. So something like that, and I'm in the performance of it, I'm feeling the air in my left arm and in my artistic consciousness as moving through to an end point, right? So instead of just thinking, I play this note, right? Instead of thinking like that, I'm thinking of this shape of the air and the line and the phrase. So that way we're thinking of a bigger artistic idea, which is I think which is what we need to be doing, all of us, everybody, from a beginner to a professional. We want to be thinking of our notes, our music as phrases. The metaphor of language, of writing, is exactly applicable. You know, you have a word, which is like a note. You have a sentence, which is like a phrase. You have a paragraph, which is like a section, and then you have the entire, you know, piece, which is like the entire composition, whatever it is. Um, and we need to have coherence in all of that. We don't read something that's just an assemblage of words that are not connected. And good writing moves us somewhere. You know, there's a progression in it. There are rises and falls in emotion. There's all so much there to get stuck on as far as developing that metaphor. But that's the idea that I want to share with you, is that step number one before everything else is pulling before you play and while you're playing, and support that air, and move your fingers on top of that cushion of air and close the bellow and continue, and you're putting the notes into the air. Never ever stop that air, ever. Your fingers can stop. So my fingers have stopped, but my air has not stopped. The air is still moving in the direction that I want to go, or this direction, right? And the sound stops because the sound is created by my finger. Okay. This is primary, fundamental, and revelatory, because from this core idea, then we can move into how we put our notes into that air. And that is what is like freeing and liberating, and gives us all of the technique. It solves basically all of our technique problems. Or without this approach, I think it's very, very hard to play the accordion well and with control. Now, again, it's my opinion, man. Like to quote the Big Lebowski, like this is a technique, as with everything, you know. Like in bowing, there's, do you hold it like this? Do you hold the German way, or you hold the French way, or whatever? There's probably other ways I don't even know about. You know, it's like all that sort of stuff. We're talking about technique, which is a way to approach. You know, it's like, it is not the art. The art is the thing, and we enjoy art coming from a great artist, regardless of if their technique is amazing or poor. The artist shows through. We're not talking about that right now. We're just talking about technique, because the accordion is opaque. I don't think that the accordion, for me, is obvious as to how to really make it shine. It's obvious to put on and start to move, but I think the default way, the unilluminated way to play the accordion is not nice. I think by default the accordion can be very easily ugly and annoying and brash and not beautiful. And it really takes a lot of craft and artistry to get a really beautiful, careful sound, and the technique to be able to do that, which we can all do. Maybe the same for a violin. I don't know. Okay, so to go back to my notes here, not that. That's a screenshot of me. Okay. All right. So, okay. So when we have the air, and I still was trying to get to Evernote. Where are you, Evernote? Right here. Okay. So when we have the air, then on the air, we create this cushion of air, and then we can develop a certain kind of a touch. If we don't have this cushion of air, if we don't have this idea of attacking the bellow with whatever emotional intensity we intend for the music, meaning loudness, essentially, if we don't have this, we cannot do anything with our fingers and the touch. You can maybe change things just a little bit, but not really very much. all of the stuff that we can do depends on having this wonderful compression and cushion of air that on that, then we can explore all this other really wonderful stuff. So, number 2, touch. Okay, number 2. It's a little too light for streaming. Number 2, touch. Okay, so I'm just going to show a piano key, right? So this is our piano key, and this is where the piano key could go down. This is the bed, and this is the key. So until I met some these great French teachers, my piano key here, right, this one, went all the way. It went all the way down. So I'm going to, let's see. How do I do that? I think I use, there we go. 4 fingers. Okay. I'm going to play this again, the same tune, and I'm going to press the piano key down all the way. So let's see. And I'm going to do the same thing in the left hand. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that by definition. Like, it is a sound, it is expressive of a certain thing. However, there's not a whole lot of subtlety to it. And I could play differently. So I could play, let me play again all the way down. It's a big sound. It's very bright. It's very open. And I'll draw this in the illustration, but it's like the equivalent of singing with my mouth open. Horrible singing, just for demonstration purposes, just for as a metaphor. But I wouldn't sing like that. I might I think even in this tune, like, it doesn't this tune probably doesn't hit a moment where if I was singing it, it's not a vocal melody. But if I was, I don't think I ever would hit that. Although, you know, like Torna a Sorrento or whatever, like some sort of croony thing, there are musical situations where I want a huge sound. I want all the emotional expression that comes from a mouth wide open, right? But I certainly wouldn't sing the entire song with my mouth wide open, because that's a one-dimensional sound. And I'm sort of like, I'm assigning all of this stuff, you know, I'm assigning all this meaning and metaphors, and I'm connecting a lot of things just to try to express my findings and what I think is really cool. So I wouldn't play these days, and for a while now, I try not to play, and all my work now is done trying to create a different touch. So on top of this cushion of air, I'm going to depress only part way, and I'll illustrate this in a moment. That gives me a more muted sound. So instead of ah, ah, it's ah, and you can hear the difference. This is exactly the same. So if I play like this, or phenomenologically, there are two things happening, at least two, but two very important things. The phenomena of what we're hearing, and I hope that did carry through the internet. But the number one thing the phenomenon that we perceive is a loudness. So if I press down all the way, given the cushion of air, right, it's going to be louder with the same amount of pressure than if I press just part way. And I'm pulling the same amount. I'm not changing my strength that I'm playing. My arm is moving exactly the same on both, and it sounds louder. The other phenomenon, the second phenomenon that this creates, is a difference in the quality of sound, and there are fewer overtones. So you can all do this with me. We'll all sing that D note. Let's all make we'll say ooh, ooh, and then we're going to slowly open our mouths. I have to stop and take a breath. Now we're going to start with our mouth open, and then we're going to close it slowly. Like, and what do we notice? Well, two things, the same two things we experience. First of all, it sounds a lot softer. Wow, wow. And that's because a lot more air is coming out of my mouth because my mouth is a lot bigger. So I'm moving a lot more air. What we hear as sound is air that's getting pushed together and contracting and expanding. And the more of it, just like if there were three of me, it would be louder than one of me because there's more air. The same thing with my mouth. But the other phenomenon is the timbre, the quality of the sound, the timbre, which is really, there are a few things about the resonance, but what we hear mostly as far as the timbre is the amount of overtones. So when my mouth is very small, my head is absorbing many of the higher overtones. Wow, wow. And if you can hear this well, I don't know if you're listening through an iPhone speaker, I don't know how much you're going to hear. You have to take my word for it or listen to it with headphones, but you can hear that. Like, let's see, it's time to draw. So now can I don't know. Trying to draw a person. This is not going to work out well. Okay. There's the bottom lip. Here's the gigantic mouth. There we go. Okay. And an eyeball. And then let's see. Start with the nose. I love at CNIMA, they use the French words superficial and profound. And I love those because I never use those for mechanical measurements of things. I use them for, I guess, emotional importance, or I use them as qualities to describe something, not their position. But I love that I just love that terminology, so I wrote it: superficial and profound. So profound is all the way down, and it's the mouth all the way open. And you could, if I took the grill off, which I'm not going to, that's exactly what's happening. The pallets, which are the pads that cover the holes, they're open all the way. Or if you do this one, this guy, and it's wah, wah, wah. And that's what I'm doing here. So, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So the thing about the go away. There we go. Okay. So I was going to draw the idea of overtones. So when we timbre, so much of our timbre on the accordion and every other instrument is related to this idea of overtones. And it's it's the science of sound. So I wrote, the overtones are very responsible for timbre, not timbre, pronounced timbre. And an overtone is the idea that when in our universe on planet Earth, given the laws of physics and nature, when things vibrate and move in a regular fashion, a string is the easiest to understand this on because it's the simplest and it's easy to visualize a string because we've all seen a guitar and a piano and stuff. An accordion reed is much harder, and I still don't really understand exactly how it works. I can't find anything online about it. But regardless, when things vibrate with regularity, like and a regular vibration produces regular frequencies, and so we have the consistent frequencies is what you get. So that's the difference. I'm looking around for my keys. That's the difference between a musical sound or a sound that sounds like a note and noise. So when we hear things that are noisy, all of the frequencies are, we're hearing a ton of jumbled frequencies that are all very close together and all very similar strength. And all mixed up. And our ears don't pick out one frequency as the most important one. When we hear something that is noisy, that's what noise is. Noise is a quality. Noise is like a weed. It's like, well, what's a weed? A weed to one person could be, a precious, flower or something to somebody else. So it's like a demarcation. But as far as noise and like a musical note, that's the difference. And I'm saying all this to explain the idea of overtones, that what happens when you have anything in the universe that vibrates is that vibrating thing vibrates with the most of the energy of that vibration going to the note that we think we're hearing, like this D, for example. That's getting most of the energy. And so we hear this as this D, D4, and not this D, D5, or that D, or a lower D, or an E, or whatever. Like we hear that, but we are hearing more than that D. So we're hearing the D, and then we're hearing 2 times the frequency. So actually, let me do this on A because I know the number for A. We all know A440. So what happens with overtones is, like if we had A440, which is this A right here, that's A440. In the United States, that's our preferred tuning that everybody likes. And so it's vibrating at 440. The peaks are happening 440 times, and that's that A. And the science is pretty elegant here. The mathematics, I guess, of the thing are pretty elegant, because this A, if I play an A that's higher than it, it's exactly double. So that A's frequency is 880. So this is called A4, this is called A5. And so what happens in overtones is that the energy for something in vibrating goes not just to what we call the fundamental, the note that we hear as the note, but it goes also to all of these additional um, vibrations of the thing that are mathematical multiples. So like a guitar string, the whole string is going to bow and bend, and every time the whole string moves, you're getting, say, the A440, if that's the string that you plucked. A440, wow, wow, wow. But then at the same time, super, super fast, way beyond what the human eye can see, it's also the physics of the universe are causing the string to vibrate in half. So half of the string is vibrating, which is an octave higher. And you're getting a fourth of the energy is going to that. And then at the same time, it's vibrating in thirds. And the inverse square. So that'd be the second. So a ninth of the energy is going to that. And so you're getting all these multiples of notes above your fundamental tone, up into out of the hearing range, really out of the range of human hearing. And why this is important is because that timbral quality is very, very, the idea of all these overtones that create all these other notes. The accordion reeds are so good at making those overtones. They're so rich in overtones that there are a ton of overtones that are up at the top, kind of this like cloud of nous that sound like this. It sounds like that. We can isolate it, and I have isolated it using this cool software before. And those sound like noise, and they're not good for music. Like what we like in an accordion sound, or the reason accordions sound noisy when they do sound noisy, is because of those noisy overtones. And the more that we open the mouth of the accordion, the more overtones are out. And the more we have a closed mouth, the more, so you can hear that the pitch is not changing, and it is phenomenologically, it's getting louder, but it's not like it's not because my diaphragm is pushing harder. It is because more air is coming out, but the timbre is changing. The timbre is we could assign it a million things. We could say it's becoming brighter, like is a brighter sound, ooh is a darker sound. You could say. You could call it more metallic and more woody. I like that for accordions as far as qualities. We're just getting into like descriptive adjectives, metaphorical ways to qualify this. But literally what's happening is that the timbre is changing, and what the timbre is for the accordion primarily that we can control are those overtones. So the thesis here of this technique is that the accordion timbre is more beautiful when we can mute a lot of those overtones. Let's see. I want to play a song. Let me play the left hand. So playing very lightly, very superficially, very much on the surface. So everybody, the bass notes and the chord button that I'm pressing are all very, very on the surface. So let's see. Let me go to blue. Surface, superficial, partway down. Let me play the same thing, but with the buttons pressed all the way. And again on the surface. Now I'm using the same amount of pressure. But it's cleaner. It's more elegant. Let me play the right hand, pressing down. And now superficial. And together. And now all the way down on both hands. I can't even do it in the left hand. My muscle memory won't really let me. But it's like, it's not that we never want to press down all the way. It's just that we want to have a variety of sounds, like opening our mouth all the way when we sing. We do want to do that sometimes, but not all the time. If that's the only way that we sang, it would be one dimensional. It would only have like a very intense, large aesthetic, and that's not what we need. We need the variety. And honestly, most of the time we don't sing with our mouth, wide open. Sometimes. Okay, so we talked about the timbre and the press and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so let me check out the chat. So let's see, what does Craig say? So Craig said, focusing on not pushing down all the way. I struggle with sometimes losing the sound when I play faster. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's either the release or the air pressure or both, for sure. Yeah. I'm going to, in a moment, I mean, these are basically the core ideas. And then I'm going to talk about applying this and doing it and creating exercises. And Bertie Worcester finds this interesting. And Courtney Vondrelli is enjoying my explanation. So thank you for commenting in the chat, fellas. Okay, so these are the two principles. Again, to restate, the fundamental principle. Well, they're all fundamental, but like the thing that you must do at the beginning is move your bellows consistently and constantly. And I would suggest for anybody for whom you're ready to dig into this and you haven't spent a lot of time, don't do anything except for this. So go into your music. Let's see if we can do it together. So let's see. Let me go to my music here and see what I can find. How about, let's see. Let's say it's Comparsita, right? So I would say, just mark your bellow and say pull first, And then so you're going to open. So maybe I want to change every 2 bars, right? And so practice, don't even worry about your touch for a while, for a couple weeks, I would say. And I'll play right here. So I'm just going to pull first and then play. And now I'm going to squeeze first. Right, I ran out of air there. But just do that. Just put that in there and make that, you practice all the other stuff. Don't only practice this, but make sure that this is in there every single day and that you make like little etudes on your music. So you say, I'm going to go through the music and all I'm going to do is like very loudly tell myself, pull first. Keep pulling. And close, squeeze first. Squeeze. Keep squeezing. Keep squeezing. I'm running out of air because I'm not pushing down onto my leg like I should be. But do that and mark it in there. It's a simple idea, but you need to make sure that you do it before, because I think for all of us, that is not our instinct. Our instinct is just to like, I pull when I play. So we don't have that wind. We don't have that like that trade wind or whatever. What did I call it? The airstream. We don't have the airstream. But that's what we want. We want to develop this idea, like sort of this long, consistent bowing. Maybe it's not exactly the same metaphor, but that's what I mean. So do that, and then when you're ready, then once you have enough sort of independence on that, or that's happening pretty good, or you're beginning to get it going, right? Because you will have to remind yourself, and you're always going to be coming back to this. Then you can start to work on your touch, and that's what I want to talk about now that I've described the touch and how it works. Now I want to talk about number 3, which is going to be relaxation. Let's see. I did purple, and then I did blue, and then I did red. I want I can't pick any more colors. Okay, well, it's going to be black. So 3 is going to be relaxation. So okay. So we don't want to relax our left arm. We don't want to have tension and stress. We don't want that. But we want to have strength and control. If I use the metaphor of creating a stream of air with my mouth and my diaphragm, my lungs and my diaphragm supporting, the air is moving forward. I'm not clenching and stuffing. We don't want that. We want anything that doesn't need to be contracted here for our air. We want to be relaxed. So our first relaxation is relax the body. So a wonderful a little note that I got from Nathalie Bouchiex, from whom I learned so much, and continue to. She said, okay, to get rid of the stress and tension in the body, she said, imagine that you are a machine. I'm a machine, and there's a key that turns me on and off. Little key. She says, okay, turn off. So you're playing the accordion. I'm playing the accordion. You're playing the accordion. Okay, you have whatever sort of tension and energy in your body. She said, turn off. You're not playing the accordion anymore. So how do I turn off? Just relax all that. So you can all try that out there while I get this little spam comment out. There we go. Okay. So this is fun. So just wherever you are, if you can, if it's safe, imagine, or if you have your accordion on, you probably don't, but imagine that you're playing the accordion. Like just imagine that you have it on, and what happens to your body, your face, your neck, your eyebrows, your shoulders, your elbows, your biceps, your hip, your back, etc. How do you get ready? Oh, I'm playing the accordion. I have to play the accordion, right? I have to play the accordion. So I have to hold it. I have to be like this, however we are. And then take your key and turn yourself off. I'm not playing the accordion. I'm not playing. I'm just sitting here. I'm just looking at my cat, my friend. I'm at the kitchen table. I'm relaxed. I'm just sitting here. I'm not playing the accordion. And she said, and that's how you play the accordion. And it's just like a little trick. It's a metaphor trick to get us to relax our bodies. And so what I have been doing for a while now is I built this idea of dropping all of the tension not periodically, but methodically and consistently into my practice. And I'm going to refine this into step-by-step process when that accordion yoga class happens. For that accordion yoga class, that's going to happen weekly starting in April, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a very chill, relaxed way to warm up your day, start your day, and also teach you all of this stuff, which is kind of tedious and annoying, but you absolutely want it. Once you start getting it, you love it, and you don't want to do things any other way, and it unlocks all this other technique. But I think this accordion yoga is a great way to go about it. And inherent in it is number 3, is relaxation. We need to relax. We need to approach all of this stuff for relaxation. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning of last session. And Frank Petrilli commented on it. He said, yeah, that's what I'm all about. I'm all about the touch and also trying to keep everything relaxed. And he and I have had some phone calls and stuff since then and text talking about it. So it's just wonderful to hear friends of mine who play great that are also on the same tip, going in the same direction. So to apply this, so a very simple exercise here. Let's see, I need to unlock my iPad. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so an exercise A. So we're going to do relax, pull on the bellow, and then stop, and then relax. And this is going to be a little cycle that we do. So without even making a sound on the accordion. So turn off. So number 1 here, relax. Relax yourself. So relax. Although my arm is in here in the bellow, okay? So I'm going to pull on the bellow, which I'm going to use a bunch of terminology because I'm not organized in my own head yet. Attack the bellow is something that you hear Jacques say, attack, which I like that. The word attack implies a certain amount of aggressiveness, which we don't always want. But the idea of like, I don't know, just the way you would have an attack of a note, you know. So I'm relaxed, no tension, shake it out. And now I'm going to pull the bellow. I'm pulling the bellow, right? And now I'm going to stop. And now I'm going to turn off again. This is the process, and we're gonna layer this into a bunch of other stuff, and I'm gonna show you how I have been doing it for weeks now, and it's really helping a lot. Let's push the bellow closed. So let's do the same thing. So we'll start at this top. So we're gonna relax. Now we're gonna push the bellow closed. So I'm pushing it, and this accordion has a little leak, so it's moving. That's okay. And now I'm gonna stop, and now I'm gonna turn off again. And what happens is this illuminates. By doing this, it illuminates in our body where we hold our stress and our tension. And you can feel it because it's like by dropping everything, you notice where you were tense. You find the places to relax. Go, oh, wow. You could do a body scan too. You could say like, okay, I'm relaxed. I pull the bellow. I stop, I relax, and like, oh, well, scan, did I have tension in my eyebrows? Is there tension there? Okay, let that go. Is there tension in my shoulders? Yeah, do I need that? Probably not. I mean, all I need right now is the tension of the bellow to pull that. So this is the thing without any notes. And then immediately after that, we start adding notes. So it'll be play a bass note. So it'll be like relax, pull or push the bellows, and then play the note. and then stop, and then relax. So which means drop all of your attention. Super simple idea. And it's just going to get, we're going to get more and more parts to it. So in a moment, we'll add different kinds of touch. So we were playing a D, so I'll play a D again. So I'm going to drop all my tension. I'm relaxed. I'm off. Okay. Now I'm going to pull. And now I'm going to play a D. And I'm supporting it. And now I stop. And now I relax all the tension in my body. And my bellows can stay right here. And what I should do, what we should all do, is practice everything opening and then closing. And I learned this from Jacques. I mean, I'm sure Palmer Hughes talks about this. This is obvious, but I didn't do it until I met Jacques. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning of number B, letter B rather. So I'm relaxed. I'm going to shut the bellows with my lat muscle. I'm squeezing this closed like a side hug. And then I'm going to play the bass note. Now I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to relax all the tension. I'm going to notice, is there any other tension, right? Now, let's do this same thing with the right hand. So I'm going to play the note D again. And so I'm relaxed. I'm going to pull the bellows, and then I'm going to play a D. I'm going to stop, and I'm going to relax. I'm going to do the same thing shutting. So I make sure that I pull or push. So by doing this, I'm going to show you guys eventually in a moment, we're going to do this on a whole melody, and we're going to do this with variants of touch. But right now, it's just the basics. And you should do the basics. Don't go straight to a melody. Teach your nervous system little by little by little. That's how it learns, with the least resistance, with the least amount of your voice inside of yourself going, you suck, quit, go take a walk. You'd be like, oh, you're doing great. This is beautiful. Holy shit. I want more of this. Keep going. That's the voice in your head when you go little by little. Okay. So same thing. So I'm starting at the top of this list. So I'm relaxed. Now I'm active, but I'm trying not to have stress. I'm trying to, what I want is by adding this idea of throwing relaxation and this idea of dropping everything, what I hope to do and develop and cultivate is that every time I do play, I only use the tension in the muscles that I need, and I don't, I'm playing the accordion so hard. I'm going to get so good. I'm going to get so good at the accordion. It's like, we don't want that for obvious reasons. I don't need to say why we don't want that, but that's not what we want. We want super relaxed in all of the ways that we can be, which honestly can be almost every way except the left arm. And the left arm, we just want like strength and control. We don't want tension. We don't want to use all the other things. So in this whole process, we want to be listening to our body, which means listening to the emotional feelings we have in our body and the literal feelings of our musculature, our body, where we have tension, and try to let it go. So if you notice that your left arm really clamps up and your left hand, like, every time I move the bellows, it's like, okay, let me see. Because these are things that I notice, I should say. I'll use the I pronoun. I'll make this about me. What's his name? Nonviolent communication. Marshall Rosenberg's nonviolent communication. Use I statements. So like if I'm pulling the bellows and I know my hand goes like that, it's like, oh, I noticed that. Oh, and as I'm doing that, my jaw, my neck go like that too. It's like, okay, let me start trying to pull the bellows without that happening to my left hand. So now I'm starting at the top of the list here. I'm pulling and I'm keeping my hand relaxed. Like, I feel it's relaxed. Cool. Now with a relaxed hand, I'm going to play that D. But you can see the little leak in the bellows is still happening. So, and look at me. I feel like I have no tension, no stress, and it's just beauty. Whereas if I have tension, and I will, for the purposes of teaching over the internet, I will make a crazy cartoon face. So here's my tense hand, and my arm is pulling so hard. I'm practicing so hard. I want this really bad because I love music. I love accordion. I want to get good. It's it is not pleasant. I don't feel the beauty and ease in that. You know, it's like what do you call it? Big follows small, or as above so below, as below so above, however that goes. Like it's all there. We create blockages for ourselves, which is kind of the theme of the artist way when I get to that in the next hour. But we want relaxation. Relaxation is the pathway to everything. So the three big things here are the bellows and the touch, and then doing it all with relaxation. And the way that I've found that works the best for me, and I'm suggesting for all of you, to find relaxation is just to actively practice it. And as we actively practice it and say, hey, body, like Nathalie Bouchiex told me, like, turn the machine off. Like, okay. The more we do that, the more we find where we hold tension. And then we could say, okay, when I need to make the necessary tension, like in my right hand here, let me not do like that, which I learned, and I used to tell my students to do that, to keep a rigid shape. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. That's not good for me, and it's not my way. So I want to be relaxed. I have my left arm on making the tension on the bellows, and I'm just going to play. And I'm going to relax my thumb up and ride that note up. I'm not going to rip it off. Ba. It's not going to be that. It's going to be ba. So the mouth of the accordion is going to close gently. It's not going to go up and cut it off. That's harsh and not what we want most of the time. And it's easy to do that. I don't need to practice that. I can do that. It's very harsh. Much more beautiful, much more gentle, and much more similar to the way most of us speak most of the time. Most of our words and music are like that. Okay, so let's continue on. I got to unlock the iPad again. Boop, boop. So this two flow. So this is this two flow. That is not complete language here. I need more colors which are easier to read. But so this is bellows only, and this is introducing, well, I'll just say with a note. So I'm giving you, like, if you all were my student, like, I wouldn't have you do all of this at once. You know, I would say, hey, this week, the next 2 weeks, just work on this. Just do this. And then let me check you out in the next lesson and let's talk about it. And if that's good, you were able to put time and the nervous system is starting to learn how to do that, then let's go on to this and spend a couple weeks doing that. And let's check that out, you know, and then let's go on to other stuff. But it's good also for us all to understand the totality of the thing, you know, whether you're going to do this or it's just interesting. Either way, it's good to understand the totality. So kind of the next step here is, let's see. I said play a bass note, but it can be really a bass note or piano key. Yeah. Just play a note, really, is all we need here. Play a note. Play a note. Okay. So then we're going to say, choose your touch. So we have a choice of places to play. So this is like 100% down. This is like, what would that be? Let's just say that's a quarter of the way down, 25% down. I don't know. And then $50 down, say. So let me go to this is the one I've been using. That's my right at the surface. And then maybe I'll try to play in the middle. And then I'll play all the way down. So on the surface, in the middle, all the way down. I think those three really are enough for us for a long time. I think really the thing to work on at the beginning is just the surface. Like, don't even worry about, just try not to be all the way down. Just try to play as lightly on the top with the full sound of the note, right? Which is changes where it is, where the press changes depending on your, on a lot of things. But anyway, so let's go with these three. And really, we just want two. So we're really just going to go, we're going to just use two here. So I'm going to relax, pull. Let me zoom in here. Keep hand as relaxed as possible and play on the surface. Okay. And then we're going to stop. And then we're going to drop all of our tension in the entire body. Hair to feet. I guess there's hair all over the body. I mean, hair on the top of your head. Maybe I'll say eyebrows. Eyebrows to feet. Okay. So the difference now, and I would suggest, if you're going to work on touch, this is my advice. This is my golden pot of gold for you, is if you're going to do number C, which I suggest everybody does if you are into it. Oh, I see some good questions from Courtney. I'll answer those in just 1 second. But do this with a relaxed hand. So I'm going to try to keep my hand as relaxed as possible. So first of all, I'm dropping all my tension from my eyebrows to my feet. Okay, now I'm going to put my arm into here and relax. And now I'm going to pull on the bellows. And now I'm going to keep my hand as relaxed as possible. And I'm going to play on the surface. And now I'm going to stop. I just stopped. And now I'm going to drop all of the tension. So where did I feel tension? And if you're doing this at home now or on the rewatch, where did you feel the tension? Notice it, name it. And when you do it again, try to not, if you don't need that tension, which you probably didn't, if you were able to relax it, you probably didn't need it. Try to not have those muscle groups fire when you're doing this. So, I'm relaxing. I'm going back to the top of this little list. I'm relaxing. Now I'm going to squeeze the bellows closed towards me, which I'm doing right now. I'm going to keep my hand as relaxed as possible. Playing with my thumb. It could be any finger, right? And I'm going to make that D again. Right on the surface. Beautiful. And I'm going to stop and I'm going to drop all the tension. I feel a lot in my shoulders. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to try not to have that tension in my shoulders. So I'm relaxed. I'm pulling on the bellow. No tension in my shoulders. So I'm actively trying to go, hey, shoulders relaxed while I do this. Okay, shoulders relaxed. Yeah, cool. I see what I'm doing. I see that my shoulders were trying to stabilize the accordion. So without those, I feel the accordion a little bit differently on my body. And I think you will too. I know you will. You will notice things. So I stop and now I drop all my tension. And I'm going to shake out my hand. So I'm going to add that because that's very, very important to me. And these, I'm not saying that I'm teaching you what you would learn at CNIMA. You should still go to CNIMA, study with Jacques, study with Nathalie, study with all the teachers there and learn it from them. This is I've eaten, I'm metabolized it. This is my version going through all my stuff, but it's very, very similar. to what they do, and it's absolutely based on their ideas. So I give all the credit to them. Shake out your hands gently. You know, we're just giving a little shake just to release the tension. Don't hurt yourself. The point is to just, okay, right? Okay. So then there's one final thing, which is even more beyond. And again, just like I wouldn't start a person and tell them to do letter C here on the list. I suggest you just teach your nervous system little by little this, and weave this in. And again, I'm going to show you how to apply this to your music in a moment. But I want to go just one more step to a letter D, and there's one more. So we're going to take the same list. So relax. Pull or push the bellow. Keep hand relaxed. Play the note. And then the new thing is that when you play the note with a relaxed hand, you're going to relax it even more your finger is going to ride the key up like an elevator. So your finger isn't going to like jump off the key, right? So imagine this is the piano key. What can I use? My little vitamin box. Okay, so say this is my finger. Tuesday's vitamin box is my finger. And this is the piano key. And it's my finger's all relaxed, my hand is all relaxed, and I'm pressing the key down superficially just a little bit, 10%, 20%. Okay. And I'm not going to my finger's off, and then the spring and the air move the key back up. I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm very relaxed, but there has to be a little bit of weight, a little bit of strength somewhere in my hand, in my finger, in my arm, wherever, to press that piano key down. And then I'm going to relax whatever that is. I'm going to relax it so it comes up to the 0 point. It comes back up to closed, back up to the note off, and then I remove my finger. This is so, so, so important because this is how we end our note. And the end of the note needs to be beautiful, just like the beginning of the note is. And that's something that we usually never think about, but it's very, very, very important. And usually if a person's playing feels harsh, too aggressive, not expressive, not gentle enough in moments, usually their notes are ending with these very they have these very, very abrupt endings because I'm just thinking about the next note. Now, in some contexts, like every sound is right in the correct context, like there are no really bad sounds. It's just the appropriate sound that we want. Again, so it's like we already know how to do that, so we don't need to practice that. It's easy to just yank my finger off. I don't need to work on that. Okay, so, and I forgot to address Courtney's question, but let me finish this in just this thing. So play the note. So ride, let's see, actually, I'll say relax your hand. Let the button or key push your finger up as you end the note. My penmanship sucks. By relaxing your hand finger more. Okay, so very hard to see even in person and very hard to see through the internet, but okay, so let me do this. Oh, and then you stop and then you drop all tension. Okay. All right, so So I relax. I'm off. Okay. But I need to relax with my arm in the strap. Okay. Now I pull the bellows, right? And I'm keeping my hand very relaxed. I'm going to use my thumb to press the D, superficial. I'm going to add that. And then I'm going to relax. Do you hear that? Let me do it again. Hear that? That's a great step on the way. Eventually, we'll get it to where we gently in the note without that distortion, the bending of the note. But let's see. Okay, start at the beginning. Relax. Superficial. Okay, so I relax, tension in the arm. Now keep my hand relaxed, and I relax it up. Right. Let me show you what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like if I don't ride the key up. Just like that. And so that's me playing a D major scale. I stop, I drop all the tension in my body, I shake out my arm. Shake out my hands and arms. Drop all the tension, right? This will do it. And we can do it in the left hand too. So let me show you in the left hand. So I have, let's say I'm doing a waltz, di pa. So I'm at the top of the list. So I'm going to relax. Pardon me. I'm going to relax. I'm not playing accordion. I'm just sitting here. Now, I create the pressure in the bellow, and I try to keep everything else in my body that doesn't need to be tense, relaxed, including my left hand. And keeping my hand as relaxed as possible, I'm going to play that D. Superficially, and then I'm going to let it ride up. Now I'm going to play the D major chord. And let it ride up, and playing superficially again. And let it ride up, and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to drop all the tension. And I could take my arm out of the strap, or I could just kind of like wiggle it a little bit like that. Just say, okay, hey, no tension in there. That's it. And that's the method. And then what we're going to do, once that, we're able to kind of like do that with a lot of conscious effort, no tension. So I shouldn't have done that, but, conscious effort. Then we just want to take a tune and apply it to that. So let's take this, that Irish tune, because that'll be a nice one. Silver Spire here. Let's see. Will it? Can I undo that? No. Okay. Get rid of my little orange marks here. So this is this is how I have been applying this in my work. So I've been applying this to my whole jazz cycle. But if I were to apply it to this tune, which is not jazz, just on the melody, I'm going to go through and I'm going to relax every time I finish a phrase. I'm going to relax, and that's up to you. Could set the relaxation point anywhere that you want. More frequent is going to give you better results. So the more that you stop and relax and drop all the tension and then start again by moving your bellows first and then keeping the hand relaxed, the more often you do that in your work, the better. I'm going to do it every phrase, which is like every, 20 notes or something like that. So here I go. Okay. I'm off. Now I'm going to start the bellow opening. I'm going to be here, keep my hand super relaxed. And I'm noticing the tension. I'm not done. I'm just trying to narrate. And that's the end of the phrase, I'll say. And then I'm going to stop and I'm going to drop the tension in my hand, just like that. And maybe I'll do the same thing again, closing the bellows, the exact same amount of music. So I'm relaxed. Now I'm shutting the bellows, and I'm going to keep my hand as relaxed as possible. What's the minimum amount? How relaxed can I keep my hand and still press down the notes? And notice the tension while I'm playing. Okay, I made it through. Good. I stop and I relax all the tension and I shake out my hands a little bit. Now I'll do the written bass line here because it's more interesting. So I relax, I create the tension in the bellows. I relax that. I relax. Now the next one. And here, relax it. Right? Say, and this actually we did me and Bob, we worked on the bass line. So there's a contrary motion, not contrary motion, but there's another voice here. So that's nice to be able to work on the melody there, right? And then I would keep going. I would go through the whole tune like this, just once, but every single time I practice. So work on the right hand alone, work on the left hand alone with this touch. And so for everything that I'm doing, I'm working on touch inside of it. And it's just my touch and control is just getting better and better and better. So this week I started working on, I knew that I wasn't going to do a Django tune. So normally my practice has been whatever Django tune I'm going to present on the live stream. In fact, let me pause this and let me finally get to Courtney's questions. Okay, so sorry. So Courtney says, am I putting any downward pressure on my bellows, as in towards the lower part of my bodies, my bellows over my knee with my bellow fan? I heard you mention downward pressure. And then Courtney said, and he's heard Nathalie Bouchiex mention the same thing along these lines. Yes, I am. So this question from Courtney in the chat is, can I get the chat in here? Will it show? There it is. So this is Courtney's question here. Am I moving the bellows down? And yes, I am. So I know it's better to draw it. Actually, here, I'll show it first. So the bellows are not attached at the bottom and they're not attached to the top. So I could move the bellows straight out. I can move the bellows straight out and straight in. I could keep the top of the bellows closed and I could move it like that. I could close it like that. Both of those require a lot of effort in my left arm to hold up the bellows. So if I try to open it like this, I'm using a lot of the top of my shoulder, my delts. It's not good, and it is not good for the accordion because the pressure is there. You hear a lot of variation. All that variation is very, very, very hard, kind of impossible to create a very steady, consistent stream of air like that. And we also have to support the weight of the bellow of the bass side. When I lift up like that, I'm now with the strap and the friction, I'm supporting that. I'm lifting the bass in addition to trying to move and create the bellows pressure and be amazing with my left hand, have all the touch and all that sort of stuff. And it's not what I recommend for you. Instead, the bellows technique that I have learned from Nathalie and Jacques that I love and I agree is they say bellows like a fan. So like a fan that unfolds like that, you know, like a Japanese fan or whatever. And this is part of the first lesson also. So if I just use the air release, what do you notice about the bottom folds of the accordion? For the most part, they're touching. And then if my hand's not even in the strap, but I'm just going to show you just by pressing my forearm closed. If I do that, I can get the accordion folds the accordion to sort of use this as the axis, the fulcrum point at which it's moving. So it's going like that and like that. There's a certain point at which the bellows folds at the bottom can't touch anymore, because like right now, because it just opens too far. You know, to continue opening to get more air, you need to start separating the bottom folds. But this is how we want to do it. So let me illustrate it on my Evernote here. So this is, let's see if I can put it up here. Bellows. Okay. So couple of black keys, couple of buttons. There you go. So it's not really great, is it? But and so when I'm opening, I'm creating pressure that's going this way. Like say this is the bellows. Opening, bellows. I'm creating pressure that's going this way. Like in physics, I remember learning about a force vector, high school physics. So the force is coming out this way, but not entirely this way. Because if my force of my arm is only going straight out, then the bottom folds are going to come out too, and I don't want that. So I have to go out, and I have to do a force vector that actually is going, erase this, like this. So I'm both opening out and I'm going down onto my leg. So out and down, and with all of that pressure, and same thing for closing. So when I'm closing, I'm kind of squeezing diagonally toward, wait, it's backwards in the camera, towards this corner of the bellows. So closing, if I closed straight, it would be like that, or if closed up, it would be like that. We don't want either of those. Went straight down, just like that. Cool. And that's the answer to Courtney's question. So let's see. So I've covered the whole thing. So let's just review then. I think I've talked about everything I wanted to, and that took the whole 2 hours, but I got to finish up the Artist's Way book, so that's fine. We'll keep going. But so just to review, we have to create our cushion of air. We create the cushion of air. And the other idea about the air, number one, is that we pull before we play, and we keep pulling. And we have this beautiful stream of air, this air stream, this like Gulf Stream. We have this wave, however you want to think about it, this very consistent thing, like my little blue line. And on that, we put the notes into the air. Let me write that. Let's see. I don't need to pull the accordion. I don't know why I am. Put the notes into the air. So don't think about the note first. I make the note. You think about the air, and then the note goes into the air that you're making. So if you're not making air first, you can't play a note because there's no air to put it into. So we only put the notes into the air. Okay. So that's what my little illustration is the notes in the air. Okay. So then once we have that, then we can start thinking about how do we touch the piano keys or the buttons. And I just drew a key, but it's the same with the buttons. It's exactly the same with the buttons. So then we can say, okay, how far do I want to open that? And I went into the whole thing about why and what's happening and why do we care about it? What does it do? All that sort of stuff. And then the last thing that we talked about was doing all this, but cultivating relaxation in our process. So I know what the last thing I was going to say. And I will, I forgot to make a post last week too. So I'm going to post last week's Django stuff, and I'll post this also in there on the forums. I'll turn this into a few PDFs, like a multi-page PDF, and I'll post that up there for you all to get. Okay, so I just want to show you sort of the flow that I've been doing. So I've been doing indifference in 12 keys, and I've made my way to the key of C minor. So I did E, F, F sharp, G, A flat, A, B flat, B, and C minor. I only have C sharp, D, E flat to go. And I start by doing this letter D on all the parts of it. So I have this cycle, the cycle that I've shown you guys on the live stream, where I start with the left-hand accompaniment. And I had been doing it on the Frank Morocco style left hand. Right? That style. But this, when I played at the open mic, I did Louisiana Fairy Tale, which is a 4/4 swing that has the Frank Morocco style left hand I'm doing. And then I played Indifference, and I was not happy with my touch on Indifference. I didn't feel the same awesome control on Indifference in the waltz time. So I'll show you guys in E minor, just because that's probably the key that you know. So I start up at the top. I start relaxed, and then I create the pressure, and then I go through the whole A section, only because this is because Indifference is a long tune. I only did the A section of it. And after I do that, then I can do the B section, and then I can do the trio. But okay, so I'm relaxed, I'm pulling, and I do, and then, and then, and I do the proper bellowing. I know you can't see the bass anymore. And then I close. And I'm trying to keep my left hand as relaxed as possible. And I can just, at this speed, I can hear such beautiful sound and resonance. Just to show you guys where I'm in the tune. I won't do the whole thing. I'll do half. Actually, you know what? I'm remembering. That's not what I do. I do 3 beats and then one more. Okay, so this is actually what I do. And I relax on 2, 3, and 2, 3, and this is what I do, and this is awesome. 2, 3, and 2, 3. So I'm playing the accompaniment through the whole tune in time, slow in time, but in time. But I'm playing pa, and instead of playing the other pa-pas, the chord, I rest, I stop, and I shake it out. I literally shake it out, but I keep the tension in the bellow. Or no, actually I dropped the tension in the bellow. This, I highly suggest this for everybody. And relax. It works so good. Okay, so I do that, and then I do the same with the melody. And then drop it. And then drop the tension. So when I do the melody, I don't worry about playing it in time. I just worry about playing each note sequentially, almost with like, and I take the breaks in between the phrases, but just playing each note sequentially and trying to get approach the tune with a relaxed hand, press the note down with a relaxed hand, the minimum amount of pressure, and then write it back up and do the same thing for the next note and the next note and the next note. And I sort of test myself and maybe push a little faster. And then if I find that I'm losing it all and just slamming down to the bottom and jumping off the note, slamming the door closed, then I like slow down a lot. It takes patience. Okay, so then after I do that, after I do the left hand alone and the right hand alone, then I do the two hands together. So I'm trying to keep everything superficial on the surface. I messed up the melody. Change the bow. And I'm super with the air. I'm really, really with the air and in my body, which is not something I've talked about in this because it's too much. But just to reiterate for Courtney and Craig and other people that have been and studied with Jacques and Nathalie, they talk about being with the air, which is what I talked about and drew the little thing. It's like I'm always, now that I'm playing the melody and I'm not so integer based, like the note, get the press right, like I did in the first or the second step. Now I'm thinking about the flow of the whatever. So that's how it's applied. And I won't go through the whole cycle because I'm over time now. But that is my spiel on touch, really. It's about so much more. It's about the bellows and the touch upon the air. But it is the core of your technique. And with this, then you conquer all the obstacles, really. I mean, this is grandiose language, but it's true. It's really, really, really true. The accordion, really, you immediately meet a brick wall because of this being an air wind instrument. And if we need to prioritize the wind, the air that we have, and we need to prioritize our touch. And when we do that, then the progress through the dexterity, the sound, the expression, control, management of the bellows, feeling comfortable, having a beautiful sound, feeling like ourselves, that all comes. Those are seeds that are being watered and nurtured and sung to and talked to and loved and fertilized and all that sort of stuff. And they grow and you can go anywhere with it. Without this, accordion is hard, and I don't know how to get where I want to go. Okay, that's the end of that. Let's take a little break. I'll have another espresso. I'll put on a song real quick, and then I'll go to the artist way for this week. And you're so welcome. Cool. You got it. I would love to do this. It's something I'm so happy to share with everybody, but there's something sort of so dry about it that it is. I'm I need to be not careful isn't the right word, but I need to be very the material needs to be introduced in a way that feels doable and easy and interesting, uh, and can fold in and keep all of our accordion playing fun and vibrant. And this cannot feel like a burden or like a you know, like a big obligation, you know. Um, and so I'm just searching for better ways. And I think my accordion yoga, which I wanted to do last year, I've had this idea for over a year, is the way that I'm going to do it. And then I'll be able to have all these awesome videos and materials. But yeah, Birdie and Ann, absolutely, I would love to do follow up on any of this. I for the two of you guys, since you guys are both taking lessons from me, I would say just start playing whatever you understand from this, are drawn to. Just start doing it in your own way. For both of you guys and everybody out there, make sure that you relax. If you feel any tension at all, change it, you know, change something about it. Either stop or change what you're doing. Like a pain, I think. I mean, like, you know, and just try to do everything with the most relaxation, but focus. You cannot relax the bellows arm, though. The bellows arm needs to be creating our deep air. Okay, now I'm starting to ramble and repeat myself. So let's go to this. I'm looking down at the remainder of my chocolate cake too. Yes. Hey, Shelly. I don't know what day. Shelly, you tell me what day would work best for you. I've started to think it out. I don't know. Like I imagine it like, you know, most people take yoga classes in the morning. So I kind of like that idea, but then we have time zones and like what time zone am I in and where's everybody else? It would be the kind of thing that I think I'm just going to include it in the $20 a month like subscription thing that I have for the site, which has all the courses and stuff. And then that's like more value added stuff. So I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be super, super affordable. So you get like 4 group classes for $20 a month, and much more. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to need to like set up a poll and see like what are the best days for people. Probably shouldn't be Tuesdays because every Tuesday morning I'm trying to like wake up, brush my teeth, do my stuff, and then get all the stuff ready for the live stream. So that's too much. Could be Mondays, Wednesdays. Fridays are bad. Fridays have chaotic energy. Really, things shouldn't be scheduled on Fridays. But Mondays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays could all work. Let me know. But what am I trying to do? Stop this screen share. Screen share this, and then hit play. I'm still here, everybody. I'm still here. I'm just gonna walk away and refresh myself. But what should we hear now? Ooh, let's hear, yeah. Okay, let's hear Gabe. This is Gabe. I don't know what this is exactly because the description is, does it say? Band number 2, the Rock Lottery hat is never wrong. Oh, I do know about this. They told me, Jamie and Gabe told me about this. So this is where you just get put into a random band, and I think you have to write a song, maybe? Courtney, you might know about this. Okay, yeah. This is so fun. Okay, here, it has a description. So 20 musicians from around the Pacific Northwest come together to kick off Rock Lottery number 13, the 13th time they're doing this. Jamie and Gabe told me about this. So Rock Lottery works like this. 20 musicians are split into 4 bands of 5 musicians randomly by drawing names out of a hat. The new groups are given a bag of snacks, access to a practice space, and the directive to prepare at least 3 songs to be performed 12 hours later in front of a live audience. How freaking cool is that? And this is my friend and also somebody whose musicianship I just completely admire. I'm a huge fan of his accordion music. Is Gabe Hall Rodriguez. You might know him from also working at Potosa in Seattle. And here, this is one of their tunes. Let's see, turn this up. I'll be right back. cool. All right. Well, in the interest of time, I'm just going to fade that out, but that's so cool. What a amazing musician Gabe is. Definitely. Okay. Well, we're going to finish up the live stream here by blasting through week 10. You guys, everyone following along. Hey, Kiara, great to see you, man. Hi to Italy. You're posting kind of right at the end of the stream, but I do this every Tuesday, so come back. Don't go away. But now I'm not going to talk about anything specific accordion. I'm going to talk about this book called The Artist's Way. If you're watching, I have been doing this book club. I did a book club one time, I think last year before last, 2023. We did this cool book about Pablo Casals, the great Spanish cellist. And that was like very applicable to music. It was all of it. This is just a self-help book for artists called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And it's very famous. And I chose it because it's cool. It's a classic for a reason. And we've been doing it, and we're on. This is week 10 out of 12 weeks, so we're almost done. We have next week, and then the final week, and I think that's it. I don't know if there's more chapters to it, but we'll see. And so now I kind of recite my notes and I sort of talk about it. I know my check-in is that I didn't do very many of the tasks at all. But I feel, I'm going to attribute it to, I'm going to give credit to Artist's Way. I have been practicing a ton every day, and I've been interspersing it with work that I'm doing or teaching or whatever stuff. And I have a beautiful cycle. I got out there and I performed, which I am a performer, but I don't have any gigs because I'm not displaced, but I'm not living where I normally do and setting up gigs and stuff. And I don't really know any similar musicians in the area to just hop onto gigs with. But I did a little two song set, played for friends. I saw a lot of music. And I feel like these synchronicities too, like even other things, just energetic synchronicities. Had a lot more social time. I've seen a lot more music and with friends. And I'm seeing that also as this has sort of nothing to do with being a musician, but just the value of just having a social life, a community with friends and stuff is very powerful and very, very helpful. Like, duh. But I have more of one now than normal. So that's cool. Okay, let's go into this week 10. Week 10 is recovering a sense of self-protection. And this she talks a lot about like how we sort of escape and hide and what we need to do, how we can avoid that. So as is the deal, I'm going to sort of review the chapter and share mostly by reciting my highlighted notes, the things in the book that I have thought were worth highlighting and sharing. It helps me reread it and think about it all again. So, okay. So recovering a sense of self-protection. And we're going to see that the self-protection that we're going to find is what we're going to learn through this chapter. What she teaches us is that we are protecting ourselves or really avoiding fear and pain from things that we fear, like failure, by hiding. So what we think of that we're really protecting ourselves, we're really avoiding being the artist that we want to be. So here we go. So she always starts off, now I see how she writes these chapters, and she always starts off just kind of giving the whole kernel, the whole nugget, even though there is up here a synopsis, a little summary of the chapter. But okay, so in yellow, when we are clear about who we are and what we're doing, the energy flows freely and we experience no strain. When we resist what that energy might show us or where the energy might take us, then we often experience a shaky, out of control feeling. We want to shut down the flow and regain our sense of control. We slam the psychic brakes. So a theme that has been going since the what do you call it, preface and all that sort of stuff, the introductions to this book, is this idea of trusting in the universe. It's really like she wants us to think about God and like a higher power, which means like it's not all the things that we don't have to do. We can just, it's there. So it's really changing our perspective on things and helping us see opportunities and possibilities. And so I'm interpreting this as like when we are experiencing opportunities and possibilities to help us, and we're reluctant to go along with that, we got to kind of just go along with it. And when we don't, then we have problems. So she starts talking about things that you can escape into. Blockages. I should have highlighted this. I'll just read the paragraph below. Every creative person has myriad ways to block creativity. Each of us favors one or two ways particularly toxic to us because they block so effectively. And so she talks about overeating. She talks about workaholism. She talks about sex addiction. What else does she talk about? I forget, some other stuff. As common ways that people avoid that sort of pains. So the one that I was feeling this morning, for others, an obsession with painful love places creative choices outside their hands. That's something I've been going on in my personal life right now. Reaching for the painful thought, they become instant victims rather than feel their own considerable power. Pardon me. If he or she would just love me, if I could just have this relationship the way that I want. And it's like being stuck there instead of kind of letting go of it or letting that happen and then going into our creativity. I'll read this next thing. Note carefully that food, work, and sex are all good in themselves. It's the abuse of them that makes creativity issues. Okay, so she's connecting the blockages for us being the artistic self that we want with these addictions or hiding or running away from things in food, sex, and work. Knowing ourselves as an artist means acknowledging which of these I abuse when we want to block ourselves. If creativity is like a burst of the universe's breath through the straw that is each of us, that's cool. I like that. Then we're pinching that straw whenever we pick up one of our blocks. So food, sex, or workaholism. We shut down our flow and we do it on purpose. That's a wonderful metaphor, Julia Cameron. The bottom paragraph, we begin to sense our real potential and the wide range of possibilities open to us, or when we do, that scares us. So we all reach for blocks to slow our growth. I wonder, do you agree with that? I wonder. So, okay, next. It is often fear. Okay, so it's the reason that we have the blockages is that we always have fear. So she says in the blue, it is always fear. The fear is often disguised, but it's always there. And that's what leads us to grabbing for the block. So I know for me, I can easily, quickly identify a fear of not being as good as I think I should be, or I am supposed to be. Like, it's like, oh, I can't play. I didn't warm up, for 8 hours today, so I can't play tonight. Or a friend came over and wants to hear me play, but it's like, I haven't played in a couple of days because I'm doing the bathroom, or, I'm working on the bathroom. It's like, whatever. It's like the fear of the thing. It's like, well, now I'm not being an artist, and just do your thing, man. For example. Okay. So in the green, blocking is essentially an issue of faith. So this is what she said at the beginning. It's like we need to just kind of go with it and let the energy of the universe, the creative energy, the great creator, good orderly design. So rather than trusting our intuition, our talent, our skill, our desire, we fear where our creator is taking us with this creativity. Rather than paint, write, dance, audition, and see where that takes us, we pick up a block. We do other things instead. We overeat, we oversex, we overwork on things that aren't creativity. Blocked, we know who we are, what we are. We're unhappy people. Unblocked, we might find something much more threatening but happy. So because we have this like deep kind of fear, suspicion. For most of us, happy is terrifying, unfamiliar, out of control. It's too risky. Is it any wonder we take temporary U-turns? Next. And she talks about anxiety. So I'll read the last paragraph. As we become aware of our blocking devices, food, busyness, alcohol, sex, drugs, we can feel our U-turns as we make them. The blocks will no longer work effectively. Over time, we will try, perhaps slowly at first and erratically, to ride out the anxiety and see where we emerge. Anxiety is fuel. We can use that fuel to write with, to paint with, to work with. But if we just avoid and shut down the anxiety, which is a kind of an energy, then we're just going to avoid it all. And then she talks about workaholism. And I wanted to do this on the stream. Okay, this will be fun. So you guys can all play along with me. So I'm going to go ahead and answer this. So number one, this is a little quiz. I'm going to circle it in red. I work outside of office hours. Geez, do I even have office hours? I don't, but let's pretend that I did. I'm self-employed musician and music teacher, so not really office hours there, but let's say often, meaning I don't have any. There we go. How about you guys? I cancel dates with loved ones to do more work. Often. I postpone outings until the deadline is over. Often. I take work with me on the weekends. Often. Oh yeah, I don't take weekends off. That's not good. I take work with me on vacations. Seldom. I take vacations. I don't know. Somewhere between often and seldom. I'll put seldom. My intimates complain I always work. Often. She does. I try to do two things at once. I don't know. That I'll say often. I allow myself free time between projects. Free time between. I would say I do give myself some free time. I allow myself to achieve closure on tasks. Seldomly. I don't do that. I procrastinate. Anyways, this is going to be boring if I do all this, but this is a fun little quiz to do. Let's continue on to the next page. Okay, so she talks more about workaholism, which is an escape for us. In order to recover our creativity, we must learn to see workaholism as a block instead of a building block. Work abuse creates in our artist a Cinderella complex. We are always dreaming of the ball and always experiencing the ball and chain. Hey! There's a difference between zestful work and a cherished goal and workaholism. There's a difference. Okay. One way to achieve clarity, this is the blue highlight. One way to achieve clarity about our time expenditures is to keep a daily checklist and record of our time spent on stuff. So then you can see what you do. That makes sense. Even an hour of creative work or play can go a long way toward offsetting the sense of workaholic desperation that keeps our dreams at bay. Because workaholism is a process addiction, an addiction to a behavior rather than a substance, it is difficult to tell when we are indulging in it. In order to guard against rationalization, it's very useful to set a bottom line. So rationalizing like, well, it's okay that I overworked so much because blah, 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 blah. So she says the solution is to set a bottom line. Like I am absolutely never going to go past this point. This is the line, da, da, da. Okay. And then she says one very simple but effective way to check our own recovery progress is to post a sign in our work area. So post a sign here and be like, also post the sign wherever you will read it. One on the bathroom mirror, one on the refrigerator, one on the nightstand, one in the car. And the sign you're supposed to post says, workaholism is a block. It's not a building block. Okay. So I wonder if that's going to be one of the tasks. Okay. So then she talks about drought. And drought is when we don't, it's like writer's block or creative, you don't feel inspired to create things that doesn't easily come out. You're like, I don't know. I don't know what to do next. I don't like this, but I don't know what to do next. Okay. She says, well, yeah, that's what drought is. And she says to do the morning pages. So the morning pages, if you're just watching this stream or you haven't watched this portion of the stream, the morning pages are part of this book. And it's 3 pages of nonstop handwritten journaling that we're supposed to do. Basically the first thing, once we wake up, as close to waking up, you sit down with your journal and you do it and just stream of consciousness, no editing, no rewriting. You just go and do it. And she says that is the solution to it. And that these creative droughts are necessary. The time in the desert brings us clarity and charity. When we are in a drought, we are supposed to know that it's for a purpose and to keep writing the morning pages. And then she talks about fame. It's basically, I won't read all this stuff, but she's saying, make sure that you're after that you're not just after notoriety and fame, but you're after true creative satisfaction, to be making good art and to be expressing yourself well. And so don't get caught up on just getting accolades and acknowledgement in a way of being famous. And then the last section is about competition and jealousy, which I do want to read a lot of this, basically almost all of it. So because I identify with this, and I know talking to my artist friends in real, intimate, candid moments when they're just telling me the real truth because we're good friends and they trust me, and vice versa. Competition gets brought up for artists, man, musicians, photographers, etc. So let's get into this last little section. Competition is another spiritual drug. When we focus on competition, we poison our own well, we impede our own progress. Okay. Why do I have such rotten luck? Why did he get his movie made and I didn't get mine out? Why is it because of sexism? What's the use? What do I have to offer? We often ask these questions to ourselves, trying to talk ourselves out of creating something. What's the use? We make excuses for our avoidance. So it's ways of avoiding. And she told us earlier in this chapter, we create these blockages because of pain. So we're avoiding pain. So we make excuses for our avoidance, excuses focused on other people. Somebody else has probably said what I wanted to say, or played this, composed this song before, or whatever, done this song this way. And they've probably done it better. And besides, that person who did it had advantages that I didn't have. So what's the point? I should just stop and being creative. And this is a lie that we tell to ourselves to avoid, to block ourselves, instead of just going with it. Just follow it. See where it takes you. And that's projecting competition, or seeing things as competition. Competition lies at the root of much creative blockage. As artists, we must go within. We have to attend to what is our inner guidance nudging us towards. We can't afford to worry about what is in fashion or out of fashion. If it's too early or too late for a piece of work, its time will come. You just got to do it. As artists, we cannot afford to think about who is getting ahead of us and how they don't deserve it. This compare and contrast school of thinking may have its place for critics, but not for artists in the act of creation. Let the critics spot the trends. Let the reviewers just don't pay attention to any of that stuff. Just make your thing. Make your thing, and don't focus or really take as truth any of the things that your censor is telling you. When we compete with others, we focus our creative concerns on the marketplace. I like this idea. I'm not used to thinking like this, but it's so true. It's I like it as a useful sort of lens or framing. So when we compete with others, we focus on our creative concerns on the marketplace. We are really jostling with other artists in a creative foot race. That is the sprint mentality, to sprint. Looking for the short-term win, ignoring the long-term game, we short-circuit the possibility of a creative life led by our own lights, not the Klieg lights of fashion. Whenever we are angered about someone else beating us out, we got to remember this. The foot race mentality is always the ego's demand to be not just good, but also first and best. The ego. I have to get there first, and I have to be the best one to ever do this, or else I shouldn't even do it. I shouldn't even play accordion. I shouldn't even do this music. When we respond to art, when we respond to art, we are responding to its resonance in terms of our own experience. We seldom see anew in the sense of finding something utterly unfamiliar. So she's just saying, like, art by its very nature, like what happens with it, it's not because we're hearing something brand new or something like that. It's that we resonate with it. And that's all we need to worry about. So she's giving us, sort of truths about art, so that way we can not feel this competition, this first or best sort of thing. If the demand to be original still troubles us, we need to remember each of us is our own country, an interesting place to visit. It is the accurate mapping out of our own creative interests that invites the term original. We are the origin of our art, its homeland. Viewed this way, originality is the process of remaining true to ourselves. I love that. And I like to remind students who are maybe struggling with mistakes or whatever. I like to remind them that, yeah, okay, we want to have the thing come out, but like ultimately the real goal is not to play a thing perfectly. The real goal of everything that we do, in my opinion, in our music at least, probably with all art, is does it sound like me? Do I hear myself in that music? And even if there is a mistake, does it still capture my essence? Did I communicate my soul in it? Measure what we're doing at that point. Try to get that to come out, and all the rest takes care of itself. Okay. A competitive focus encourages snap judgments, thumbs up or thumbs down, right? Which is not what's up. And then she advises us, be willing to paint or write badly while your ego yelps resistance. Like Michael Joseph Harris in Baltimore told me, you have to be okay to suck. You're going to suck. You got to be okay to suck, right? Your bad writing may be the syntactical breakdown necessary for a shift in your style. So there can be a reason for it, like follow it along. Don't just criticize it and give it up. Just keep going. Just keep making, keep creating. Don't listen to those blocks. The need to win now is a need to win approval from others. As an antidote, we must learn to approve of ourselves. Showing up for the work is the win that matters. And that's the end of this chapter. Then we got the tasks and all that sort of stuff. And because we're kind of over time, I'm just going to wrap it up right here. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Thanks everybody for popping in the chat. It's been my pleasure. Again, my name is Dallas Vietti. This is the accordion stream that I do for my teaching. Rising Read, you can see the name right up there, risingread.com. If you're interested in lessons or anything, you can hit me up there. I'll be back next Tuesday for week 11 of The Artist's Way, and then we'll be getting back into the Django and June stuff, and I'm sure I'll have more fun other stuff to do. Yes, let's see. Okay, that's it. So you're welcome, Bertie and Ann and everybody else. Everybody have a great week. Yeah, and I'll see you guys all next week. I'm gonna